It's Tuesday, September 4th, 2012. I'm Alex Jones. Get ready for another edition of InfoWars Nightly News. Straight ahead.
Tonight, the effort to characterize the right to assemble as terrorism accelerates, and the DoD classifies protesters as low-level terrorists. Then, a bizarre video catches the TSA's new policy of testing passenger drinks long after they have already passed through security. Meanwhile, TSA security checkpoints at public events are becoming normalized as grope downs come to the DNC. Plus, the Obama campaign struggles to draw crowds as only 14,000 people showed up to his campaign kickoff. This time, desperate Democrats are forced to ship in busloads of college students to fill a 74,000-seat stadium and create the illusion of popularity. All that and more up next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Our first story tonight has grave import for the once land of the free, home of the brave. We see cybersecurity and the Pentagon saying they want to restrict free speech. We see warrantless wiretapping by the NSA openly against the American people. The rebranding of the war on liberty, known as the war on terror, from Al-Qaeda to conservatives, libertarians, gun owners, anti-war activists across the political spectrum. Basically, if you have a social conscience and stand for liberty, you're the enemy. Our country's been occupied by foreign banks. They openly brag about it. Every day I see articles at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com linking to mainstream news promoting global corporate governance as the answer. It's neo-colonialism, but not the nation state going in and exploiting the third world. The globalists have taken over the old nation states that were the heart of the empires and are flipping it where they ship our jobs to the third world and won't let us develop finished goods here. So all of this is happening. All of this is unfolding, and we see stories like this first one. Activists put on terror watch list to prevent him protesting DNC. Effort to characterize right to assemble as terrorist accelerates. And here's what's scary about this. In the local news stories covering it, they don't act like it's a big deal that he was arrested trying to get on a plane because he'd been put on a terror list, and the ACLU got the documents because he was planning to protest. They list that as terrorism. In fact, in the article, we actually have the documents, and it lists in them what low-level terrorism is defined as. Attacking the Pentagon, IEDs, hate crimes against radical groups, and protest. So protest is mixed in with bombing the Pentagon or racial attacks or explosives on the highway. I mean, this is insane. They just mix it in there, and it says that they asked prosecutors to hold him in the jail where they threw him until the DNC was over so he wouldn't carry out his terrorism. So now we've gone from free speech zones to you'll get thrown in a dungeon. Now, we caught the Pentagon in Toronto during the G20 a few years ago. We also caught them in Pittsburgh and in London with black vans pulling up and cars pulling up and grabbing activists and putting bags over their heads and putting them in cars. And I watched the body language and I said, that's fake. And it turned out it was. They were doing it to scare everyone, but to have the media see it and see what the response would be. I mean, this is organized takeover. Can anybody believe how diabolical this is? Just type in snatch and grab at Toronto, snatch and grab in Pittsburgh G20 if you want to see those famous footage. Private security goons in military outfits grabbing people and disappearing them as a beta test for the real thing to create a chilling effect. This is so incredible. This is so surreal that the media is like, yeah, he was on a terror list, so they arrested him. No jury, no conviction, no indictment, no habeas corpus. And it's like, yeah, they wanted a $10,000 bond for the pre-crime, but the judge reduced it. So now they're just reporting on, yeah, he was going to go protest, and that's listed as terrorism. And I've got the documents here that the ACLU got, and it's the Department of Defense, DOD. It's the different reports where it lists the fact that the Department of Defense is involved, and they call it low-level terrorism to want to go protest. I mean, this is so chilling, and it's getting no attention. People are acting like it's no big deal. Even our headline is about activists put on terror watch lists and preventing protesting. No, he was grabbed NDAA style and thrown in a jail, and then there was still somewhat of a republic left, so he got out, but the judge didn't say, well, what has he done wrong? I don't care if there's a Department of Defense document here in front of me saying it's terrorism to protest. Terrorism is the First Amendment. And it goes on to say that the Fusion Center tracked him and found that he'd been involved in anti-war activism. And it goes into how they're knocking on people's doors that are anti-war activists. We've had the FBI in Austin go to people that go to anti-war rallies, mothers with their kids, and the FBI comes and threatens them at their door. They videotape it. I mean, this is such a chilling effect. So the TSA sticking their hands down your pants. Now they're on the highways. We're going to cover that in a moment. Now they want to test the drinks you buy after the checkpoint to teach you that you're all suspects. And then now they're creating these lists where you don't just own a gun once they put you on a no-fly list. You get arrested. No judge, no jury, no adjudication, just black hole. While the banks brag on the news that they've captured America, I want to get this guy on the radio, guys, and on the TV, and I want to get the ACLU on about this. This is a big deal. We could get Whitehead back on it from the Rutherford Institute. I mean, this is so scary that the government puts the underwear bomber on the plane to put naked body scanners in. It comes out, nobody gets in trouble. They're funding al-Qaeda to attack Libya and now Syria, telling us give up our rights or terrorists are going to get us. And now they say it's domestic groups, gun owners, libertarians, conservatives, anti-war. And now this guy tries to get on a plane, or people go out and try to protest, and they grab him and say, we're charging you with low-level terrorism for protesting. We don't want you to get out of jail. I mean, they're arresting people at the airports and when they try to go protest on the ground. That's what happened with this guy. And they call it low-level terrorism. And again, we've got links to the documents in the article. It says the Department of Defense personnel, DOD, this is the military involved in our streets in plain clothes, are required to complete on a yearly basis involved in multiple choice questions, including the following. Which of the following is an example of low-level terrorism activity? Select the correct answer. Attacking the Pentagon, IEDs, hate crimes, radical groups, protests. In order to proceed, users had to choose the correct answer. Protest. So they're not just saying it's an example of low-level terrorism to attack the Pentagon. They're saying it's terrorism to protest. I mean, it's so off the charts that even though I knew this was all coming, it's hard to believe when it's actually here. If they keep moving forward, they're going to arrest Alex Jones. They're going to start silencing everybody else. They're going to try to intimidate you. They think you're a coward. They think you're going to shut up and go quietly into the night. I hope that that is not the case. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. A fun little video here. Kind of a review of sorts of two different things. We bought two of these Levitron systems. I thought they looked cool as maybe a prop on some of the new TV studios we're building. So when we're on air, we'd have a little spinning globe. The Earth, where we live, right there in North America. But if you're watching in other parts of the world, obviously, other places. But if the government says the planet doesn't exist, well, then maybe it doesn't. Maybe Al Gore created the planet like the internet. So here you have the Levitron. Let me tell you, it is very hard to get this to work. It's more of a brain teaser toy. But I'll tell you what actually does levitate quite easily. It's a big joke around here in the office. This is a Pollen Burst Plus box that we've all torn into and eaten the contents, drunk the contents. It tastes like a cross between bubble gum and fruit punch and is the best energy drink out there. In fact, I like it so much. Look at that magic. I like it so much that, well, I'm endorsing it. As featured on the Alex Jones Show, InfoWarsTeam.com. And when people get it there at InfoWarsTeam.com, they get discounts
You get wholesale prices, and it supports the broadcast. We're not like George Soros that gets your tax money through bailouts and then gives it to different groups to attack the media, like Media Matters and Think Progress, or MSNBC that gets hundreds of millions of dollars of banker bailout money and then uses it against the First Amendment and demonizes freedom in this country. No, we just promote products we believe in here at Infowars.com. So there you have it. The Levitron, I'm not a big fan. It's very hard to get it working. It's kind of a little quick impromptu video here. But it actually does work if you want to have floating Beyond Tangy Tangerine or Pollen Bars Plus. By the way, I came in this morning and saw this, so this is impromptu. Of course, they have the original as well. It's pretty darn good, but not as good as the one I'm endorsing. By the way, I liked this new flavor when it was in testing. That's why they said, hey, you want to endorse it. So I'm not just endorsing it because I'm endorsing it. I'm endorsing it because I like it. But check it out, InfoWarsTeam.com. Vitamins so powerful, Al Gore is shocked by them. Al Gore, you invented the earth and the internet. And as Obama said, Dr. Corey Gold did not build Pollen Burst Plus, even though he is one of the most well-known and successful developers of proprietary vitamin and mineral supplements. You didn't build that. In fact, the power having that float is the power of government. Just look at North Korea, how wondrous it is. Okay, so there's my bizarre review of the Levitron and the Pollen Burst Plus, InfoWarsTeam.com, and launching today, InfoWarsHealth.com. Now I better go do the radio show. There's a big stack of huge news to cover. Stay with us.